Bam! Welcome, human anatomy students. So you get another wonderful set of notes by me, your anatomy teacher, Mr. Kolka. But first, I have a riddle for you. Are you ready? What has 13 hearts, yet no organs? Think about it. The answer is a deck of cards. Didn't know that one, did you? So without further ado, let's get to our skin function notes. All right, functions of the skin. Number one, your skin protects us in many ways. The skin has at least 3 types of barriers called chemical, physical, and biological barriers. The chemical barriers include skin secretions and melanin. Remember, we talked about melanin, the skin pigmentation, a little bit during the review game. The low pH of skin, called the acid mantle, prevents multiplication of bacteria. All right, if that wasn't there, every time you get a cut or every time your skin was open to anything, you get a pricker in your hand, you prick yourself with a pencil, anything time it was open, some sort of laceration, you'd be infected with bacteria. This decreases or doesn't allow bacteria to multiply on our skin. It's a very good defense. Sebum, as we discussed earlier, the oil, kills bacteria as well. Skin cells also secrete a natural antibiotic called human defensin that punches holes in bacteria. So bacteria lands on your skin, human defensin punches holes and destroys the bacteria. And in case you're wondering why I'm a little grainy on the screen here, it's because this background to this Google Slides is textured. This is the way I show up on it. I become textured. I'm textured! I'm textured! So some other important factors of the skin. The skin is thick enough to prevent abrasions, bacterial infections, and thin enough to allow us to move. So it may seem like our skin is very delicate and doesn't protect us, but it's actually pretty thick and protects us pretty well. Something called glycolipids make the skin waterproof and prevent the diffusion of water and water-soluble substances between cells. Okay, you're like, well, our skin's not waterproof. Well, think about it. You can swim or sit in a bathtub for hours and not blow up and absorb the water. Okay, so there's very little movement of any water moving in and out of your cells. That's why this picture's down here. 100% water protection. So we know about sweating, right? Being temperature regulation for the body. It's really important. So if external temperature is lower than body temperature, the skin surface loses heat into the air to cooler objects in the environment. So for example, if the environment temperature is below 88 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 31-30 degrees Celsius, sweat glands will continuously secrete unnoticeable amounts of sweat, right? So if it's cooler, now everyone's different, this is just an average. Some people sweat no matter what it's like. But let's say it's like 75, 80 degrees and it's hot, it's warm, but it's not like overly hot. You're going to sweat continuously, but it's really tough to see the sweat, right? When body temperature rises, something called the dermal blood vessels dilate and sweat glands are stimulated into vigorous secretory activity, which means sweat becomes noticeable. And at this temperature range or this activity, we can lose up to 12 liters of body water per day, which is why you got to drink water, even though I'm not that good at it. And you can see these two people down here are sweating in different aspects. This one over here is working out and she's saying, sweat is fat crying. And this guy over here, he's not going to make it. I don't know what's happening there though. So how do we cool down? Sweat itself will not cool us down. Just because we sweat, it does not mean we are going to get cool. We have to have the evaporation of the sweat on our skin surface to dissipate the heat or to get rid of the heat. All right, so we sweat because it's hot, and then the dissipation of the heat of sweat makes us cool down, which is why you'll see a lot of athletes sometimes take a towel and wipe off the sweat, and then they'll continue to sweat and then continue to cool their bodies down. All right, so that wiping of the towel off will increase or speed up the evaporation process. When it's cold out, dermal blood vessels constrict, causing warm blood to bypass the skin and slows your heat loss, which is a cool condition, or an awesome condition in the cool. So now to metabolic function. Cholesterol is modified into vitamin D when skin is bombarded by the sun. So when you walk outside and you get hit with UV rays, okay, cholesterol is made into vitamin D. Vitamin D protects our skin. So the same vitamin you take by pill, vitamin D, you can get from sunlight. All right, that's why it's really important to go outside and get UV rays. Actual UV rays, not the ones where you lay in a tanning box, right? That's not good. All right, it can disarm many cancer-causing chemicals that penetrate the epidermis, and it can activate steroid hormones. And you see vitamin D is also prevalent from these items that you eat. So that's going to be it for this little short section of notes. Basic stuff about skin, some important things in our human defensin, some vitamin D, some really important items about melanin. So make sure that you understand what everything's been said in here, and then let me know if you have any questions.